You are not fighting about the trash. You're not fighting about the laundry, the birthday he forgot, the trip he booked without asking you, or even the fact that he can sit in a messy kitchen like it doesn't even register. Those are not the fight, my friend. Those are just the symptoms. The real fight is underneath all of it. And it has been running in the background of your relationship for months, even years, without either of you seeing it clearly for what it is. And here's the hardest part. Counseling won't fix it if you don't understand what it actually is. So what I'm about to show you is the root, not the surface, not the symptoms, the root cause. And once you see it, you'll not be able to unsee it. That's not a promise, it's actually a warning. Hi my dear, I'm Sameness, and this is where we talk about the truth behind relationships no one ever taught you. Whether you're single and you're tired of repeating the same old patterns, or in a relationship that feels disconnected or even hurtful, you are in the right place. I will help you understand what is really going on and how to finally feel safe, seen, and then chosen in love. So, what's the hidden truth behind all this fighting? You've probably been told that you fight because you have a communication problem, that if you both just could express yourself more clearly, if he could just listen better, then the fighting would stop. So you try harder and you talk more and you explain the same thing 10 different ways, and then nothing changes. Because the real root cause of most relationship conflicts, it's not poor communication. It is actually misunderstanding. And not just misunderstanding of what was said, but misunderstanding of who your partner is and then the meaning you assign to what they do. And then it comes from expecting you and him to be the same. He expects you to think and react like he would. You expect him to think and react like you would. And then when neither of you do, because you are both wired completely differently, then you each interpret the other's behavior as something being really wrong. Not wrong as in different, but wrong as in the character of the other person, his love, his respect for you. And you think, well, if he cared, he would do it the way I do it. While he thinks, well, if she trusted me, she wouldn't react the way she does. And communication cannot fix that. Because you can say the clearest, the most articulate thing in the world, and if the person hearing it, it's running it through the wrong filter, the filter of sameness, it lands completely wrong every single time. So after years of that daily, repeated, uncorrected, two people who loved each other become enemies. And I'll show you exactly how that happens and then how to stop it. But first, you need to understand why this misunderstanding keeps happening. And that's because the solution lives inside that understanding. Look, most people have no idea that men and women have nervous systems that are wired completely differently. For example, women have diffuse awareness. Her brain is tracking everything at once: the laundry, the school, lunches, the appointment next Thursday, the birthday coming up, the trash that needs to go out on Monday morning. All of it is alive in her nervous system, all of it poking at her attention. It is like having 89 browser tabs open in her mind, all running and all screaming, do something about it now. And so, of course, she assumes that her man experiences the same thing. Why wouldn't she? She cannot imagine a nervous system that doesn't work like that. But his doesn't, because he has focus awareness. One thing at a time. Whatever it's flagged at the current priority, that's where all his attention goes, completely. And then anything outside of that, it's not being tracked, it's not even registering in his brain in that moment. So the trash is not screaming at him, the lunches are not screaming at him. The only thing screaming at him is like the client who called at 7 a.m. with a crisis. So then he spends 45 minutes solving it, and then his brain shifts immediately to the next priority. Gotta get to that meeting on time. So he didn't neglect the lunches. His system is just not built to hold lunches while handling a business crisis at the same time. She can, he can't. That is not a character flaw on his part. That's just a different operating system. But she doesn't know any of this. What she knows is, well, the lunches were made and the trash is still there and he knew about both of them. And because she would never let those things sleep if she cared, her conclusion is that he doesn't care. He's selfish. He can't be trusted. He is against her. But then let's look at what's happening on his side. He was fighting for his family's financial security at 7 a.m. and then he worked all day solving problems that she never even is going to hear about it. And then he comes home to find her furious about the trash. So his conclusion is that nothing I do is ever enough. She never sees the big things I do. She only focuses on petty things, and what I didn't do, she is against me. Now multiply this. 15 fights, 50 fights, hundreds of fights a year for years. And from her perspective, he becomes the lazy, selfish couch potato who treats her like a maid. And from his perspective, she becomes the nagging, ungrateful bitch who doesn't value anything he does. And just like that, two people who loved each other become enemies. And enemies don't solve problems together. Enemies build cases. Enemies don't protect each other, they protect themselves from each other. So, who's right? Both of them. And both of them are also wrong. Because this is what most couples never realize. Different nervous systems create completely different perspectives of the world. Not just small differences, but many times opposite views that can both hold truth. That's like the classic 6 and 9. Place the number on the floor. One person stands on one side and sees a 6. The other stands on the other side and sees a 9. Both are right and both are wrong, because the truth depends entirely on where you're standing and your perspective. So here's where this breaks down. If each person insists that for them to be right, then the other one must be wrong, you don't get curiosity, you don't get understanding. No, you get war. And the war, it's not really about the trash or the anniversary or the emotional conversation. It is about two people who were never taught that their partner's reality can be completely different, 6 and 9, from their own, and both still be valid. How is that possible? Stay with me and it will make sense in a minute. Here's where all of that started, and it was way before you two even met. Both of you were taught to expect sameness. What is that? It's the famous treat others the way you want to be treated, right? We heard that all of our lives. And sounds positive, but it assumes everyone wants, needs, and processes things the same way. But the reality is that we were designed for tribes. Most people have no idea, but we are still hunters and gatherers in our DNAs. And if you think about it, hunters and gatherers had very different needs and roles in the tribe. So not only their bodies, but nervous systems and brain functions were wired very differently. For example, hunters focused on one task at a time, while gatherers had to track everything at once. And in a tribe, those differences worked together as complementary. They were a team, and that was the whole point. Now, put those two very different systems inside a modern nuclear family with no tribe to help, and then expect them to operate identically. Of course, conflict happens, because when she sees him behaving differently from her, she doesn't think, oh, that's just his hunter wiring. No, she thinks, well, he knows what he should do and he's choosing not to do it. But then on his side, it's the same. When she gets emotional in a way he doesn't relate to, he doesn't think, oh yeah, gather a nervous system, all good. No, he thinks, there she goes, overreacting again. And so you both keep misunderstanding each other because you're seeing everything the other does through the same misleading lens. And you were turning what is actually natural biological differences into proof of bad character and of bad intent. So you're slowly building a case against the person that you once admired. That's the blindfold. And once it's on, everything your partner does gets filtered through it. So you have to realize that you're not even fighting each other. You're fighting your biology. This is what the enemy archetype is. It's not a clash of personalities or poor communication. It's what happens when misunderstanding accumulates over time without repair. When every moment of difference is a disappointment, and it gets added to the growing case that your partner has bad intentions until they finally become a threat. And when it feels like someone is a threat, and here I'm not talking really about physical threat, but a threat to your self-worth, to your sense of being loved, to your identity as someone who is enough, then what happens is that your nervous system does what it's designed to do, to get into survival mode. Be right, win, make them comply, because if they don't, their difference feels like an attack on your worth. That is the enemy archetype, and it is why you're still having the same fight, not different versions of it, the actual same fight, just with different props. So here's how you shift out of enemy mode. Not 5 steps, not a framework, one thing. You have to act from the principle that you are on the same team. And I don't mean that in a nice, fluffy way, but as something that you actually choose to act from every day. Especially in the moments when everything new wants to go to war, because that's when it matters the most. And team mode means understanding that when he doesn't do something you expected or your way, the starting assumption is not neglect. The assumption is difference, that his brain works differently, that his priorities register differently. That's not a failure of love, that it is a different operating system doing exactly what it was built to do. Team mode brings curiosity when there is difference. But enemy mode sees it as an attack, as a threat. So when you walk into the kitchen and the trash is still there, your nervous system is going to spike. You're not wrong to feel it. It's normal. But what you do in the next few seconds then will determine whether you go to war again or if you stay on the same team. So your old pattern says, he saw it, he ignored it, he expects me to do it, I'm alone in this. But then the new frame you're going to be operating from starting today will say, well, something hijacked his focus. I wonder what it was. Curiosity. That is the whole shift. Seriously. So here's what that sounds like out loud in a real voice. Hey babe, what got you sidetracked from taking the trash out this morning? So not an accusation, just a genuine question. Because if you believe that you're on the same team, you believe there's an explanation. And there almost always is. But the problem is, most of us women hear the explanation and we turn it into a poor justification. Because women don't know that he's different, so they use their own behavior as the benchmark. And so here's the part that's going to sting a little for us women, is that a lot of us already know that he's going to drop the ball. We see it coming. We've seen the pattern before, because remember, he's wired this way, so of course the pattern's going to show up, right? But instead of then saying something, we wait, we watch, we test, and then when he forgets, then we use it as proof. But that, my friend, that's not love. That is seeing a trap and not calling it. And letting someone you call your partner fall into a trap that you can already see is enemy behavior, not team behavior. Team behavior looks more like this. Hey babe, quick loving reminder that's our anniversary next week. And I know that your brain has 1,000 things fighting for your attention at the moment. I don't want you to miss it because I love when we celebrate together, and I know that you do too. And then you help him put reminders in his calendar, not because he's incompetent, but because he has a focused brain. And his focus is actually one of the things you chose him for as a woman. But then now let's flip it, because this is not a one-sided problem. Because when she's emotional, when she's flooded, overwhelmed, her feelings coming out faster than she can organize them, his first instinct is to fix it, to logic, to say, calm down, or you're overreacting. And she doesn't feel helped by him. And she doesn't calm down because she feels dismissed, she feels invalidated. But what he doesn't understand is that her nervous system works through connection and not solution. She's not asking him to solve the problem. She's asking him to confirm that she's not alone in it, that she's seen, that he has her back and that she cannot move into that rational conversation while the emotional wave is still going. So when he's asking her to think logically while she's still flooded, it's like asking someone to solve a complex math problem in the middle of a hurricane. The conditions are just wrong and it's not going to work. What she actually needs is a hug, it's eye contact, it's saying, I can't imagine how hard it must feel right now, but I'm here with you. And then waiting, letting the wave settle. And once it settles, she will almost always come back. She will think clearly, she'll want to solve the problem with him. But she cannot be rushed there. But here's what we women need to understand. The truth is that he's not trying to dismiss us. He's trying to end her pain as fast as possible, which is what a problem-solving hunter brain system is designed to do. But she's a gatherer, so what ends her pain is being seen, heard, understood. So those are two very different things. So now you know you and your partner are not broken. Your relationship is not doomed. And you don't even have a communication problem. You're just different. And you were designed that way on purpose for a very good reason, to work together as a team, not against each other. But you didn't know that. So when you expected sameness, the differences between you two felt like a threat. His focus felt like neglect to you. Your emotions felt like attacks to him. His forgetfulness felt like disrespect. Your disappointment felt unfair. And you both started fighting the very things that you chose each other for. His ability to lock in, to drive forward, to protect, to provide, and then your ability to hold everything together, to feel deeply and to keep the connection alive. But you are not opponents trying to prove who is right. You're actually teammates who need each other's different strengths to build a life that you want. So stop needing him to be more like you in order to believe that he loves you. And then start looking for the ways that his hunter design is showing you that he does. Because when you stop needing him to be like you in order to feel loved and respected, when you start understanding your man for who he really is, you will start to see that he has been on your side and loving you this whole time. If this hit home for you, go ahead and subscribe. There is a lot more of these conversations coming. And if you know a couple who's stuck in the same fight on repeat, send this to them, because this is a conversation that they need to hear. I'll see you in the next one.